Hello and welcome back into another CreekCast. I'm your host, Brooks Carter, joined by head football coach Drew Carter as we are coming off the last of our lengthy road trip. We were on the road three straight road games with two bye weeks built in there. We're back at home for the first time in 5 weeks coming up this Friday as we'll play host to the Murray County Indians. Really excited about that. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. But we came off a very competitive game Friday nights. As our student media writer, Kylie Little, wrote in her article that I kind of helped come up with the headlines for. It was a highly contested game through three quarters. We went into the fourth quarter only down by a touchdown, but LFO able to kind of pull away and put it out of reach in the fourth quarter. But that was a game where that's really all you can ask for is a puncher's chance going into the fourth quarter. You got a one score game. We've moved the football on them. What do you think went? Where do you think the game kind of got away from us in quarter number four?
We had a couple of bad sequences there late in the game. We got ourselves behind the sticks, and it kind of was a repeat of a couple series in the first half of the game too, where we had a penalty to start a drive, got ourselves in a bad situation, had to give it back to them without flipping the field position, and kind of put our defense in a bad situation. And then our defense didn't respond great either. Give up some chunk plays, whether it be a busted coverage or some missed tackles, and you let a team with that much talent have that many opportunities, they're eventually going to make you pay.
Yeah, LFO now sitting at 4-2 on the season. They're a quality playoff opponent, which has kind of been the case with everybody we've played. All of our losses have been to teams who are 4-2 or better at this point in the year, which is saying a lot about the strength of our schedule right now to this point. And we kind of started backwards in the game here in quarter number four, but that is especially second halves in a lot of the games is when we've seen games get away from us. I go back to the North Cobb Christian game. They took the lead and never really turned back. Our guys were in the game going into the fourth quarter, but that's not necessarily a situation. We haven't played a lot of close games down to the wire where we've got a chance to win in quarter number four. Do you feel like that was maybe a learning experience? I know there's been a lot of times that there have been different types of learning experiences, but that was a game situation that I don't feel like we've been in a lot, where we're going into the fourth quarter with a chance for us to go win the football game.
Yeah, with this group of guys, you're exactly right. And that they weren't ready to handle it that way. They realize that though, because when we meet with the team Monday, kind of to install game plan, that kind of stuff, they were pretty upbeat in relative to the result, if you know what I mean. There, with that was one of the more complete games that we've played, and they see the progress that's taken place and still the opportunity that we have in front of us. So proud of them for that, and proud of the way that they're keeping things in perspective of we're continuing to grow and give ourselves an opportunity here down the stretch, and hopefully we can learn from that, and how important every single play and every single sequence of events that happen in the game can be. And we can't have a lapse of focus. We can't have, a missed tackle here or miss an open guy here. It all matters.
Now let's go back to the kind of first half as we'll start and kind of go through a full game recap here. Jumped out quick on them, 14-0. LFO fumbles the opening kickoff. We recover, take it down a few plays later, put it in the end zone. Kobe King finally gets that long-awaited offensive touchdown. I know he's been waiting I think that was his first touchdown catch of his career. I know he's been waiting a long time. He's been playing both sides of the football. He's made a lot of plays for us on defense the last 3 years, but he's never quite broken that threshold to score. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Keith Collins a couple of years ago. Was a star on defense. I think he only scored maybe twice on offense all year, though, after being involved heavily in the offense. There was a play of him running off the field after scoring against Lafayette and him running up to our receivers coach, Michael Bowen at the time, saying, "I scored finally." So like that's kind of what that moment felt like to me for Kobe, to finally get in the end zone and help the team jump out to an early lead. But then you come out defensively, force LFO into a 3-and-out, and you jump right back out there, drive the ball down the field, and you're sitting up 14-0, and things are looking really good. But LFO responds, has a big kickoff return, gets them down the field, and then they had a couple of plays offensively where like Mitchell is the guy's name, their big star receiver. He caught just an unbelievable pass on another drive that set him up 1st and goal. And kudos to LFO. I thought we played well for the most part in the first half. We had a couple of missed opportunities, but they've got some special playmakers, and they made some plays that we even had guys in position that I don't know what else you could do.
Yeah, you're right. And like we said to open the show, when you give teams like that are that talented and that explosive enough opportunities, eventually they're going to cash in on you. And we weren't able to take advantage of every opportunity that we had. Our defense did a great job. I think we forced 3 turnovers, if I remember right. We didn't cash in on all those. We got to make those count and make those hurt. And then, you mentioned the big kickoff return. We had 2 guys in position to make a tackle right there that he slipped out of. They gave him that opportunity to set up with that field position. And then, they go score to make it 14-7. And then we come out and have a terrible sequence of 3-and-out where we mentioned a couple penalties, and we have a bad punt, one of the few times Edwards done that all season, and give him another short film, and bam, it's tied up.
Yeah, and then it was really kind of neck and neck for the next 30 minutes of the game in quarters 2 and 3. And I know we had an opportunity to score before halftime, a questionable fumble call against our team right before halftime was really just an unfortunate situation. That was a big momentum shift call that went against us, that where we would have had a chance to likely tie it up before halftime. But a lot of positives to take away from this game. Some of the we had some of our bigger statistical individual efforts that we've had all season. If you haven't seen the social media posts that I put out, Waylon Lyles was with only the 4th performance in school history to eclipse 300 yards of total offense. Case Kinnaman did it twice his senior year against the Daresville and Northwest. Chase Ward did it in 23 with a monster night against Ringgold, where he also broke the school passing record that night and had 76 yards rushing on top of it. But Waylon with 242 yards passing, 59 yards rushing, 3 total touchdowns. Really great individual effort from him. Tyler Douglas with 117 yards on the ground. And then even in the passing game, we saw some people have career nights for them. Kobe goes over 100 yards receiving for the night. Who else did we have on here? We had a few other guys with I'm looking at the full season here. That's why it's over 100 yards. Let me go back here. Kobe with 86 yards, 86 receiving yards. Elijah Faraji with 75. Both of those career highs for both of those guys. 6 catches for Kobe, a career high there. He was our offensive player of the week this week. So really some big numbers offensively from some guys, career nights for a few guys. I think that's Tyler's 3rd career 100-yard rushing game.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to see all season. We knew that those 3 guys that you mentioned in the receivers and running backs, and then obviously Waylon, were guys that we're going to have to count on as the season started off, and that's exactly what we were hoping to see. And the whole team really came out. I was really happy, and I've told them this a couple of times. We looked prepared. We looked confident going into the game. And I challenged them to that. The coaching staff challenged our guys with that last week. We've got to go out and play like we believe, like we know that we're prepared to go out here and play and compete. And you see results like that from some of those guys. Tyler was really hard to bring down. Kobe did the same thing. He really did a lot of things all over the field. He caught short passes, broke tackles, and made explosive plays that way. He caught some down the field. So he really kind of displayed all his ability there. Elijah made some really good catches on the sideline, caught some short passes, and was able to get up the field, making yards after the catch. So, guys doing some good things there. And we really felt like those guys did a nice job blocking down the field too, because Tyler had some big plays. Maddox had a couple of carries when he was in there spelling those guys. And then Chris helped us out too, caught a couple of checkdowns and was effective in that way too.
Yeah, overall, if you look at the team stats and the box score from the game, we outgained LFO 416 to 341. You mentioned the three turnovers we forced. Each of the Lowry boys had a fumble recovery. Branson's was on that opening kickoff. Jackson had one later on in the first half, and then Zaire Solis comes through with an interception for first time in his career. So, forced them into some mistakes, and we were able to capitalize on a few of them. Defensively, leading tackler from the game was Branson again, who continues to add to his tackle total on the season. He's far and away the team leader in tackles this year, and he, added to it with a fumble recovery. Jackson, I want to say is I want to look at his total. I know he already had a couple of fumble recoveries. He's up to three on the season, which is inching towards a school record for that. No stranger to school records is Jackson Lowry. So he'll just fill himself up in the record book by the time he's done here over his last four games. But a lot to build on in this game. Now we want to take some of these individual efforts, combine them into a team effort, and go out in these last four games with a big opportunity to still do some big things. You look at the power ratings. We talked about that a little bit. And we'll talk about our opponent with Murray County coming up in a few moments, but I want to look kind of big picture here for a few minutes. Our strength of schedule really bodes well for us to this point in the year. And our one win, in fact, against Chattooga, they upset the region leader in their region this past week, which helps us. So we're still, in theory, in control of our own destiny to go out, win a few games, and maybe shake things up in our region. It's a really tough region, and I don't think I think we have earned the respect of the teams in our region. I know we have, based off the coaches I've talked to. The work I've done with North NWGA football. I know a lot of the coaches. I've talked with a lot of the coaches. They've got a lot of respect for our program, and they know that we're incredibly difficult to prepare for. But you don't want to just be difficult to prepare for. We want to see these guys walking off the field as losers when they play us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We got to take these strides and measures of progress that we've done and fully cash it in for four quarters. Last Friday night was a big step in the right direction of, like we mentioned, we played more of a full game than we have all season. Now it's can we get the situation of football better? And I think that's going to help us to get where we want to be. And I think the fact that our kids are aware of the stuff that you're talking about, because I meet with the captains every Monday afternoon after practice, I think for the first time that they must have just looked at it or realized where we were in that thing, and they were really energized by seeing that. I think that with the combination that we're finally able to come back for some home games here in the stretch has our guys energized. So I'm hoping that we can put all those things together and get the results that we want to going forward. You mentioned the turnovers that we had in that game. I think that speaks volume to how hard our guys are playing. Because anytime you're coming up with fumbles, and then I believe the pass that Zaire picked was a tipped. Anytime you get those things going in your way, your dudes are playing hard. Because those don't bounce in your favor if you're not playing as hard as you can with great effort and in the right position. Those things don't bounce your way. But they did Friday night. So our guys are doing the right things. We just got to tie it all up and make it neat and button things up, and we'll be where we want to be.
Let's take a minute to thank our corporate sponsors, as we do every single week on here: Trinity Barbecue, S&M Auto Repair and Towing, Hernandez Roofing, Mohawk Industries, the Todd Nelson Foundation, Engineered Floors, Keller Williams, the Blankenship Team, Lowry Tree Service, Precision Seamless Guttering, Selling North Georgia, Smoky Mountain Wood Products, Textile Rubber, Phoenix Roofing Systems, and Dairy Queen. Coach, looking ahead to our game coming up Friday night against Murray County, this is a team that we've played every single year of varsity football. It's one of those handful of teams that we've always played, whether it be a region or non-region opponent. It's turned into a little rivalry with them over the years, and you know, we lead the series with them 7-6 all time. It's been a competitive series over the years too, and this is a team that's got a first-year head coach. They are improved from what they have been the last couple of years, and they're a team that's already won a couple of games this year. They've already exceeded their win total from last year. They beat Southeast earlier this year, and I'm trying to remember Towns County, I think, is who they beat in week one. Didn't want to confuse them with Toombs County because that was a state championship team. I always confuse Toombs and Towns, and they're nowhere close to each other competition wise. So they've got a couple of wins under their belt to this point in the year, and they've played a couple of a bit of a surprising score last week. They played North Cobb Christian within a touchdown. Lost to them by 6 points last week. This is an improved team and won't be just some kind of pushover.
No, absolutely not. Coach Allen's done a really good job with those guys. They look more energized this year, more focused and more purposeful in what they're doing. And they play that way. Like you said, they've had a couple of tough losses in some tight games, so they'll be hungry. And that was the message that I had for our guys. Don't mistake anything that's happened in the past for us just being able to show up Friday night. We've got to come out with the same type of energy and confidence and focus that we had going into the game last week, and then build on those improvements that we're challenging our guys with as we've been in film study and in practice this week. So I expect our guys to fully answer that call and come out with that kind of focus against them. But as you said, it's been a fun rivalry since I've been here, all the way through the full deal with Coahulla Creek being open. So looking forward to that, having them coming over across Conasauga.
Yeah, back at home for the first time, as we mentioned, in 5 weeks. Finished with 3 of our final 4 games at home. So that's exciting in itself. I feel like our team's played really well at home this year in the 2 chances they've had to play at home. So I'm sure our guys are excited about that. What's kind of been, has there been any talk about being excited to be back home after being away for so long?
That's exactly how I opened the team meeting Monday afternoon. Was the best news I've got is we're back at home, and that was greeted with a round of applause. Our guys are excited. They feed off that energy. They like being here. I think we do a good job with our atmosphere here at home, and our guys love that. Our student section, really the last couple of years, has really built up and kind of knows how to be in the flow of things. So that makes it better for our guys. So they're definitely excited about that. We got Rec League night coming up this week. So we'll have a lot of those little leaguers out here. So that'll be fun. But I fully expect a lot of energy in the stadium Friday night.
One last thing I wanted to finish up on before we finish up this week's show is Monday this week was National Coaches Day. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of speak about your coaching staff. And, we talk a lot about the players and the work that they put in. I know a lot of people are familiar with our coaches, and they know their faces, they know their names. They don't see all the work that they do behind the scenes. I know a few of our parents know some of the extents of the work that they do, but some of our coaches are really involved. I mean, pretty much all of them are involved 6-7 days a week during the football season.
Yeah, the level of commitment that comes from the guys that work under me is unbelievable. Their knowledge and their passion for the game and their passion for young men is second to none, because you don't do the things that you're mentioning, whether it be game plan meeting, making sure our facilities are top notch, laundry, picking kids up, taking kids home, checking on kids' grades. The list can go on and on. But that's the men in the meeting room that's with me that take care of all that stuff. I feel like I'm very fortunate, very blessed to have the type of men around me that I do. It's a dynamic group that we all complement each other in a really good way. And I feel like they get the most out of our young men year to year and week to week because of the commitment that they have to our guys and our program and our community. And I feel like that's the true measure and stick of a coach and a coaching staff is, what kind of impact are we getting on our young men? And are we maximizing what we can do with our team each and every week and each and every year? And I feel like we check those boxes, and I'll put these guys up against anybody.
Yeah, so if you have a minute Friday night and see one of our coaches, whether it be Coach Carter or all the way down the list with our 9 assistants, walk up to them, tell them thank you for everything that they do for our kids. I know they would be greatly appreciative of that. So, Coach, thank you for your time this week. For Coach Drew Carter, I'm Brooks Carter. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of CreekCast. We'll be back here on our YouTube channel recapping Murray County next week and looking forward to our longest road trip of the season as we will set out for the mountains over in northeast Georgia with Union County. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.